Should we do this Avril Lavigne? This guy? Alright, we gotta watch this. Is he gonna get mad? Shane Dawson. All of the conspiracy theories in this video are just theories. I'm not stating any of them as fact. This is for entertainment purposes and not meant to harm anyone or any company. Thank you.
Hey, what's up you guys? Yes, welcome to another conspiracy theory video. And of course, I'm going to talk about the theory that you have all been talking about for the last week. And that is the theory that Avril Lavigne is really dead. Now, I talked about this theory 2 years ago, but for some reason it's making a comeback. People are freaking out because they think that the Avril Lavigne that we know today is actually Melissa Vandella. Alright, so here's how the story goes. Basically, back in 2002, Avril Lavigne was blowing up. And she wasn't the type that enjoyed the paparazzi or the red carpets, so her record label hired a lookalike that would do all of those things for her, Melissa Vandella. Now, this is not uncommon. A lot of celebrities have lookalikes that are employed by them.
That was
and if
actually
they want to fool
confirmed?
the paparazzi, they'll send their lookalike somewhere, and then the paparazzi follows them. So the idea that...
Wait, what?
Now, this is not uncommon.
Okay.
A lot of celebrities have lookalikes.
I mean, I didn't even know which is the real one.
That are employed by them. And if they want to fool
This is the real one?
the paparazzi, they'll send their lookalike somewhere, and then the
This is the real one?
paparazzi follows them. So the idea that Avril's record label would give her one isn't shocking. Then the story takes a dark turn. In 2003, Avril Lavigne's grandfather died and she went into a severe depression. She even broke down in tears on stage during one of her concerts.
I just want to say that this show tonight goes out to my grandpa who passed away today.
Dang, today?
So the story goes that shortly after that, Avril Lavigne killed herself. Now this is when Avril Lavigne was the most popular she's ever been. So the theory is...
You can tell that this is really old YouTube because he didn't say unalive. He didn't say whatever other beat around the bush.
The record label did not want that to go away, so they had Melissa step in and take over. Now listen, I'm going to start this off by saying I am the biggest Avril Lavigne fan of all time. I have been listening to her entire career. I own all of her albums, like the physical copies of the albums. I know her career like the back of my hand. And even I noticed a difference in Avril after 2003. So let me give you an example. Here's a clip of her performing a song in 2003.
How's it with friends? They already know, and they've all got tickets to see show.
Okay, so you can hear she has kind of a raspy voice. It's a little deep. Well,
Yeah,
here she
she
is
should've took the
performing
day
just
off.
a few years later.
He wanted her, she never tell. The secret is she wanted him as well.
Yeah, the voice.
Did he say a few days later?
Well, here she is performing just a few years later.
A lot happens in a few years, dog. Like, maybe she just had a bad day, you know what I mean?
He wanted her, she never tell.
Sometimes you're in this kind of mood.
Yeah, the voice has clearly changed. It's a little higher pitch, it's a little more
I don't think
feminine.
that's
It was
evidence.
just a lot different than it used to be. But it wasn't just her performances that changed, it was her interviews. Just check out this clip from 2002.
If you want to know what I think that I am, I think that I'm just a rock chick. And I like to rock out.
Now here she is years later.
I sang in church and I sang around my little town.
I mean, the person.
That does happen though. Let me see. You guys said she's a country singer? Let's see the era before punk rocker. Probably doesn't exist. Because people change over time.
Personality is completely different. The style is different. The physical appearance is different. But people have taken it to the next level and they started posting pictures.
I mean, yeah,
of
if her like best friend says that she's dead, well then she's dead probably.
Avril used to look like versus what she looks like now. And the differences are pretty crazy. So as you can see in this picture, they do look very different, but maybe it was just a makeover. But one person started measuring everything.
Shania Twain one? The first one is good.
Went in, things did change. I mean, the space between the eyebrows
What is this? Okay, the nose does seem wider.
is bigger. The nose is narrower. The space between the chin and the lip is a lot smaller. The brow line is different. Pretty much everything on her face is adjusted just a little bit, which makes people think even more that it's Melissa.
Even has lip filler and
her
shit.
lookalike looked a lot like her, but she probably had a lot of small, subtle differences. Also, people have noticed that her writing has changed. So here is a picture of what her old writing
Homie, you look at my handwriting, and my handwriting 5 years ago is completely different.
looked like. It's pretty distinct. It's almost cursive. And now here's a picture of her new writing.
You couldn't only get small sample? Brother.
I mean,
And that looks like it's from a music video. How do you know that that's her writing? The prop person probably wrote that. This looks like it's from a music video, like how it's like aesthetic composition. Handwriting hasn't changed since I was 4. See what like there's no evidence that she wrote this.
I mean, that's clear.
I'm open to I'm not saying that Avril is I'm not saying that this guy's wrong, but I'm just like countering his thing. I think so far he's had zero compelling evidence.
My writing has not changed that much in the last 10 years. I feel like the way you write when you're maybe 13, 14 is kind of how you write forever. I don't know. Listen, I am a huge Avril fan. I have loved her ever since she came out. I have all of her albums. I know all of her songs. But I don't know. This theory is pretty crazy, but God, there's so many pieces of it that make sense. I mean, just looking at a clip from her music videos back in the day compared to some of the stuff that's come out more recently.
Homie, this came out in whatever year, and Skater Boy was 2001, and she changed from country to punk, showing that she's like willing to conform with the trend that's popular at the time. So like, I don't think this is evidence at all.
Yeah, there's a change. But do I really think she's dead and this is Melissa taking over? I don't know. I mean, just look at this video of me 10 years ago and tell me it doesn't look like I've changed.
What's cracking, YouTubers? In case you don't know me, my name is Shane. Nice to meet you.
This guy kind of got canceled, and he looks... I guess he kind of looks like this now. He looks kind of crazy now. Yeah. Oh, looking amazing.
Yikes.
Yeah, he did some sus
Shane's
stuff.
dead. I hope Shane's dead. I hope that guy killed himself and was replaced by somebody slightly less annoying. Because damn, I don't know. Listen, it could be real, it could be fake, but people change. So maybe Avril just evolved. Or maybe she didn't and she died and Melissa's
100%
taking
the
over.
same.
But Melissa girl, I'm waiting for you to drop an album because it's been a minute. You should probably drop one right now because people are talking about you. Come on, Avril, be smart. Okay, now this next conspiracy theory is about Katy Perry, and it's a little different than you're probably expecting. Now, we've talked about Katy Perry possibly being a reptile, and we've even talked about Katy Perry being a part of the Illuminati.
What a
and showing
sick
lots of
sentence. Alright, let me see if my copy worked. Let's see some sick tricks from today. Look at my nice recording. Memories. Aww.
symbols in her videos. And obviously those theories are a little far-fetched. This next one is true. I mean, I don't know if it's true, but it's fucking true to me. And that is the theory that Katy Perry's entire career has been based off a comic book character. Okay, let me explain. Okay, so you guys know the show Riverdale, right? Well, Riverdale is actually based on a comic book from the 40s called Archie. Now, Archie was a comic book about a guy and his love triangles, and him just trying to be a teenager, but shit just keeps going wrong. But there's one character in the Archie comic book series that people started looking back at and thinking she looks very familiar. Her name is Katy Keene. Alright, now let me show you a picture of her, and you tell me if she
Are the
looks
lizard people
oddly
real or what?
familiar. Blue hair, a heart corset, lots of makeup. That kind of sounds like...
He's saying this is
Blue
Katy
hair.
Perry. I mean, this looks just like every random comic
Or a
thing.
heart corset, lots of makeup. That kind of sounds like somebody else we know. I know.
He didn't even get a good pic. She doesn't even have blue
What
hair.
else we know?
The hair is way different. I guess this is kind of the same. But still, oh, and I guess it has these. What are those things called? Okay, yeah.
I know, you're probably thinking, Shane, that's just a coincidence. But is this a coincidence? Yeah, literally in the same outfit and with a lion.
Okay, that's kind of sick. Maybe she's just taking inspiration from this.
Who roars. But then Katy Keene decided to get a makeover and, you know, kind of look like an 80s girl. You know.
Now, see, the thing with this, where people think that this is like copying or whatever, this comic, someone designed this comic, right? And someone thought, hey, we want to make someone look like a nature lion person. What would a nature lion person? Oh, probably a flower in the hair, probably a spear, probably some kind of weird bikini skirt, leafy combo. That sounds about right. Their problem solving of trying to make like a lion picture resulted in that. Then, years later, someone just said, hey, how are we going to do the design? Oh, yeah, let's make it lion style with a leopard thing and like some kind of crazy skirt. It's just like the decision making was the same process because they're doing the same thing.
Roars. But then Katy Keene decided to get a makeover and, you know, kind of look like an 80s girl. You know who else did that? Yep, Katy Perry. And then Katy Keene went on the beach. Then Katy Keene decided to wear a Japanese outfit, dress up as Mrs. Claus, become a mermaid, have a summer love on top of a convertible, be covered in peacocks, be in an Egyptian costume, a mariachi costume.
It just seems like the comic and her are just doing a lot of things.
Firework! And if that isn't all crazy enough, just look at the text from Teenage Dream and Katy Keene. Yeah, both 3D candy cane design. You can't tell me that that's just a coincidence. I don't know, I find that very interesting. Like, imagine a pop star creating their entire career kind of based off of a character and none of us knew. We could have guessed what was gonna come next, you know what I mean? Like, we could have looked at the comics and said, oh, she's gonna be on a firework, and then a year later, boom, Katy Perry, firework. I don't know, that shit's very interesting to me. And by the way, I don't mean this is like hate to Katy Perry. I like Katy Perry, I like her music, but I just found
Parallel thinking, yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Interesting. Okay, now this next conspiracy theory once
Same
again
as skating.
involves
It's like
a company.
In skating, you do a trick first, and then someone else does a trick. Doesn't mean you copied it. It's just you were just thinking about it the same way.
That might be subliminally messaging us, and that is the company Monster Energy Drinks.
Ooh.
All right, now this
Yeah,
theory
even if they were, what does it
sounds
matter? I
kinda dumb and
agree
kinda
also,
crazy.
but I
Let me
don't
explain
think they
it.
were.
So the
It seems
theory
like just
is
coincidence.
that Monster is actually trying to put the devil in our homes. Now, about a month ago, this video started going viral of this Christian woman explaining how Monster is actually the devil. Now, first she starts showing the can.
We're gonna get 1,000
explaining
tricks
the
soon.
symbols that are hidden
766.
inside. And she explains how the M on the can has spaces in between.
There's a gap right here in the letter M. It's never connected. So you go into Hebrew. The letter Vav is also the number 6. Short top, long tail. Short top, long tail. You could have here in Hebrew
Yes.
666 on the can.
Okay, so I kind of buy that. Maybe they did put a 666.
It's literally
on the can. But then she
poison. Why do you
explains that
care
the
if it's
actual
like
Monster
representing the
logo
devil?
has a
Why don't you
cross
worry that
in
it's
the O.
poison?
And she's right, there is a cross in there. But wouldn't that signify Jesus? Like, that wouldn't
Why don't we
signify
get
the
mad
devil.
about it
Then
being
she
terrible
fucking
for you?
blew my mind.
You cannot deny that that is a cross. And what is witchcraft? When the cross goes upside down. Bottoms up.
Like, okay, listen, I know it sounds crazy, but when she did that, when she lifted it and the cross went upside down, I got the fucking chills. And there was other things she explained too. Like, for example, in the Bible, the mark of the beast is basically something that you get on your body and it signifies that the devil kind of controls you. Well, then she said, hey, look at Monster's tagline.
Unleash the beast. Oh no.
Yeah, unleash the beast. So is this company trying to get kids to drink this beast
Can we get back to
drink
Avril,
to
dude?
kind of show that the devil controls them? Are they just trying to get the devil in our homes? I don't know. It's crazy, but also, like, still kind of buy. Okay, now this next theory we're going to talk about is something we've kind of touched on before, and that's basically the theory that Marilyn Monroe was murdered. So as most of you guys know, Marilyn Monroe died on August 4th of 1962. And ever since she died, people have been questioning what exactly happened. Now, supposedly she died of an overdose, but a lot of people don't believe that because they say she was happy, she loved her career, she loved her life. Why would she end it? Well, it's common knowledge that she was having an affair with the president at the time. And a lot of people think that she learned some secret information and she was going to leak it to
Oh,
the
yeah,
press.
I
So the
remember
government
hearing
killed her. So to me, that
that
seems very
conspiracy.
believable. She was killed because she knew too much about the government, right? What I didn't know was some of the things she knew involved aliens. Now, supposedly at the time she was having an affair with the president, her phones were tapped. The government wanted to hear everything she was saying because they wanted to know what she knew. Well, in the CIA document document that was leaked. It said a lot of very scary things. So here's the document right here, and a lot of people have claimed that this is real. It's been tested.
That was it?
There was even a whole documentary that just came out very recently about it, and it all claims that it's real. Well, in this document, it claims that Marilyn Monroe was talking to her friend on the phone.
The rest is just random shit?
Told her about a place that
He doesn't bring it back to Avril? Are you
things from
serious?
outer space. All of
I could have quit this video early.
And you went to it's gone. What does that mean? What else has been? Okay, now there's so many emails about it. It's an Instagram account called I Know Exactly Who You Are. Now in this, all the
What? Damn, that was a shitty video. I thought it would be better. $40 minutes. 40 minutes? I don't know if I can do the 40 minutes. Holy.
Avril went into a deep, dark depression, and in late 2003, she was found dead at her house.
It's not even just a rumor. It's that I'm dead. Aren't they saying like that I'm an imposter?
She dressed very punk rock. She wore pants. She did not wear skirts. She didn't wear dresses. Her hair was always straight, parted down the middle in front of her face.
From Let Go, she had a different kind of handwriting that her autograph also changed. She used to sign her name one
Look, again with this stupid, inconclusive thing.
way, and then
yeah, some people think that I'm not the real me, which is so weird. Like, why would they even think that?
Is Avril Lavigne dead? A lot of people believe that Avril was replaced with a body double. When she first got onto the music scene, she was struggling. She didn't like the fame or the attention that came with it. So Avril's record label hired Melissa to take over that role. But once the pressure became too much for Avril, she took her own life. At this point, the record label took Melissa and transformed her into the Avril Lavigne we know today.
I mean, that actually it kind of does seem possible, I guess. But what happened to the Melissa person? Is Melissa dead?
Hey, it seems
like if Melissa dies at the same
everything
time, then
from
it makes
Avril's
sense.
appearance to her sound to her personality has changed. So is Avril Lavigne dead? Let's get into it.
And like, is there a photo of Avril and Melissa together since then? Why don't they just take one to debunk all the conspiracies?
As you guys know, I do all of my own research, and it can
dead
get
as well?
really sketchy really quickly. That's why I use CyberGhost VPN. A VPN is a virtual private network that will this me and hack your data. You've never seen better stories of us, and you'll back guarantee. So check it out and enjoy. Before we get into this video, I want to give you guys a disclaimer that this is a conspiracy theory. It's not something I necessarily believe in, but I've heard this story before and I wanted to tell it for myself. Please do not send any hate or harassment to Avril or anyone mentioned in this video. So today we're breaking down the conspiracy that Avril Lavigne died and she was replaced by a clone named Melissa, which Melissa isn't necessarily a clone, but more of a body double. Avril Lavigne really popped off back in 2002 and 2003.
I didn't know, I'll admit, I didn't know that the label actually had a body double that like does the media PR. That's kind of crazy. That actually gives it way more weight. I thought it was just random.
Conspiracy theory has been around ever since 2005. So pretty much as long as Avril has been famous, this conspiracy has been alive. It all originated from a Brazilian blog titled Avril is Dead, and this website is still up. I will link everything below, and a lot of the basis of this conspiracy is rooted in this blog. But there are plenty of people on the internet who believe this conspiracy to be real, and honestly for good reason, because there is a lot of proof that Avril Lavigne isn't the original Avril that we saw on our screens. So at the beginning of Avril's career, she was struggling with fame. I mean, it's not easy to handle the paparazzi and all of the attention, so she hired a body double named Melissa. This person could go and replace Avril at certain
This is confirmed Melissa, right?
events, or when the paparazzi would be following Avril, they'll actually be following Melissa. But even with her body double Melissa, Avril was depressed, and this conspiracy claims that she ultimately took her own life and her body was found by her record company. Since they had Melissa handy, they were able to use Melissa to leverage her as Avril for Avril's second album, because at this point she started working on the second album, but if she took her own life, she wasn't able to complete it.
Give you an explanation that you probably are not expecting. So, there has been this long-standing theory that Avril Lavigne has actually been dead since 2003. Are you confused yet? So listen, according to this theory, Avril Lavigne has actually been using a body double named Melissa to distract the paparazzi for her, attend different events for her, even sing at her concerts for her.
So according to this conspiracy, they even taught Melissa how to sing like Avril. But ultimately, they are two different people and they act differently. I mean, supposedly Melissa was okay with the paparazzi and the glitz and glam, and that's something that Avril had trouble accepting.
The label went out and found a lookalike named Melissa Vandella, which they hired to portray Avril Lavigne for the press and the paparazzi and kind of handle some of the fame aspect of Avril's career just to take some of the stress off of her. In these clips, Avril's saying that it's literally her least favorite part, and in one, she describes her first encounter with the paparazzi where they ambushed her at a subway, and her drummer kind of like stepped in front of the camera and let her escape and saved her. Avril was just real hurt by it. It upset her. She felt violated.
Now let's get into the evidence that suggests that Melissa ultimately took Avril's place and fulfilled her career. So Avril Lavigne's second album was called Under My Skin, and it came out in May 2004. So Avril's second album was completely different from her first album, and a lot of people questioned the fact that she really changed up her style and her music and her look, and it just doesn't seem like it adds up to what she originally stood for.
People might, before they get to know me
Melissa
and my music, they might assume because of my age that, you know, I'm another one of those pop chicks that dance around with the dancers and lip sync and all that stuff. I mean, it won't take them long to find out that I'm not like that I write my own songs.
The creator of the blog post that originated Avril conspiracy has apologized and changed the blog to state that Avril has now died, and that the blog was a way of showing how conspiracy theories seem true.
I play guitar and that I'm a rock chick, not a full-on pop chick.
I guess I'll open up to believing it if it's confirmed that the Melissa person was hired by the thing, but it seems like it wasn't, I guess.
Interesting that Avril's second album and her performances and her music all became exactly what she originally hated. She wasn't about that life, yet her second album and her work following really stood for that, which maybe adds to the conspiracy that Melissa was.
Usually when people make a really good first album, they never make a terrible second album. That never ever happens. Never, not even once, right? That's great evidence.
Behind everything. If you guys look at some of the promo art for this second album, you will see that Avril has a photo of herself with the word Melissa written on her hand for whatever reason. It's not like Avril's name is Melissa, her parents aren't named Melissa. I honestly cannot figure out why she has this written on her hand.
Who cares?
And it really feeds into the idea that this isn't Avril anymore. So looking at the second CD, Under My Skin, if you take a peek at the artwork, you will see that the style of the letters of the design are completely different on the cover and the booklet. It's an album full of subliminal messages apparently left by the new Avril.
Okay.
Let's analyze it, because starting with the title and the cover, you will see that it says Avril Lavigne
why would
under
Avril want to hint that of what happened?
Skin. This is very suggestive because she was
like,
no longer the real
it?
Avril, but Avril Lavigne under the skin of another singer. Also note that the name Avril Lavigne is written in black, which almost represents mourning. You'll also see Avril Lavigne wearing
Bro did not just say that.
In black, which almost singer. Also note that the name Avril Lavigne is written in black, which almost represents mourning. You'll also,
you know what else is representing mourning? All writing ever. It is always written in black, my fucking dog. Every single writing ever represents mourning.
See Avril Lavigne wearing black with red crosses on her shoulder. The name Under My Skin is in red. The cover colors seem to suggest mourning and bloodshed. If Melissa or the new Avril wanted to send some subliminal messages, the artwork would be a perfect place to do so. But there is so much to unpack when it comes comes to this conspiracy.
No,
I do want to
not.
focus on this album to start with, but then we'll get into the physical changes in Avril's appearance. We'll talk a little bit about the idea that she did take her own life and much more. But I do want to briefly talk about her first album.
If Avril already hates the paparazzi and then she has to deal with this shit, like that's kind of sad.
Because it's called Let Go, and it came out in June 2002. If you do take a look at the artwork, it is pretty different from her second album, which I don't think it's that crazy for an artist to switch up their look and their appearance for another album. I mean, look at Lady Gaga. It seems like she changes her entire personality per album, but people caught it. Now let's talk about this second album, Under My Skin, because a lot of people point to certain songs and certain lyrics to prove that Melissa took over as Avril. But honestly, personally, I'm not sold on all of them.
Avril, Under My Skin comes out in 2004. That's the next album.
Yes.
In this album, there were multiple songs, one being Slipped Away, where people think that she was hinting to, transitioning into Melissa. I didn't think this was good support to the theory whatsoever, because the lyrics to me seemed like they were just lyrics that you would sing about maybe like a boy slipping away from your fingers or something.
Honestly, ladies, I'm with you when it comes to that one, but there are some songs and some lyrics I want to break down for you guys, and then we'll get into the damning evidence, like the fact that this new Avril is a different height and they write differently. But in the song Nobody's Home, it seems like new Avril could be suggesting that old Avril took her own life, with lyrics like she's losing her mind and she fell from grace. You'll notice in Avril Lavigne's first album, it seems like she's speaking a lot about herself, but in this
even the idea, like, if the record label somehow had the power to cover this up, you think the record label would allow subtle things like this to slip through? Why would the record label want that? Like, why would they ever allow that to happen?
Second album, she kind of speaks about herself in a third person. But I want to break down the music video of this song because I believe that the music video represents the death of old Avril and the rebirth of new Avril. So now let's break down this music video piece by piece. So starting the music video at 3 seconds in, there is an inverted image written Strat Sound 35, as in a mirror, referring to the fact that the new Avril is a mirror of the old
just
one
the
physically.
Premiere Pro default thing, bro.
Still at the 3 second mark, a letter A from Avril also appears, right after the plus sign. And then there's a letter D. The person who analyzed this music video believes that this suggests that Avril is dead and that the D is standing for death. Now getting into the music video storyline, because Avril plays herself.
It's literally just stock footage.
Now getting into the music video storyline, because D is standing for death. Now getting into the music video storyline, because Avril plays herself in both characters. There's character 1 who's dressed in all black, and then character 2 who's wearing a wig. So we have 2 different characters here, but they both share the same face. So character 1 is in all black, which means that she's mourning. And if you look at the background of the video, you will see a violin and an orchestra, but there's no violin in the music, which would low-key represent a funeral. Then you see character 2 ask for a ride. This represents Avril wanting to get away from it all. You guys know that she was struggling with her career and fame, so it kind of adds up. It also looks like Avril first tried to disguise herself and run away somewhere else. There are also moments in the video that show character 2, the one wearing the wig, playing a guitar and singing in the mirror, so it's supposed to represent the fact that
Isn't this just showing like your life choices? I don't know what music video is talking about, but one's like trashy emo and then the other one's like all fancy.
Also a singer. Then at some point in the music video, character 2 decides to call her mother, and she informs them that she's decided to go home and to see them because she's not well. But the mother acts like she can't really handle this and doesn't really want to be involved with this daughter's life, which I think does represent the relationship between Avril and her own mother. Then later on in the music video, at the 3:15 mark, you will see the word Avril 2004 pop up on the screen. And then the letter X comes up, which almost suggests that this is like signifying that she's no longer here, that she's X'd out.
Maybe that's
Avril
her
2004,
name and the year
which
the
is
album
the
came
year
out.
the album came out. I believe that if Avril did take her own life, it would have been in 2003. So this music video may very well represent Avril Lavigne passing away and this new Melissa taking over.
They tried to cover up by
But what I
leaking
think
it
is
in the
odd is
video.
that
in
there's
the music
another
videos,
version of
when they're
this
the
music
record
video,
label.
and it doesn't
Yeah,
include
bro.
these codes or
Makes
the scene
sense.
with Avril's mother, which I don't really understand why they would have a second
way that this
version
guy's
and
so
why
serious
they would
is
have
crazy.
these parts missing.
At least the other guy was jokey. This guy's like so serious.
Before we move on to the physical changes, I do want to cover a few more songs from this album. Later on in this video, we will discuss how Avril took her own life, but this song, My Happy Ending, suggests that she could have hung herself, which is what a lot of people believe. Lyrics like, it's
How
not
does
like
that
we're
suggest
dead,
that?
and a city so dead, hanging so high on a rope so fragile, which again feeds into the narrative that maybe old Avril took her life by using a rope. In the song Together, it seems like the new Avril is speaking about the old Avril, because the idea is that this album was partially done, but they had to work on the rest. And in the song Together, there's a lyric that reads, "The truth comes to me and I am living a lie." There's also another song called How Does It Feel? And in this song, they write, "How does it feel to be different than me? We are the same," which is suggestive that there's these two people who are very alike but different people. In the song Take Me Away, it seems like Avril, the new Avril, is mourning the old Avril's death and the fact that she has to impersonate her. The lyrics read, "All I do is hide. All my thoughts turn to you. What was never said, I can't deal with this mess." So maybe there's some type of internal conflict with Melissa taking over Avril's life. That's something I can't wrap my mind around, because as someone who lives unapologetically as myself, I can't imagine Melissa just taking on someone's entire life like Avril Lavigne's. I mean, some people refer to Melissa as a clone, but it's clear that she's not a clone. I mean, that's not a thing. So then how does this person completely erase themselves to become Avril? And then there are a few other lyrics from this album, like songs Who Knows, where they write, "Why do you look so familiar? I could swear I've seen your face before." And another song called Forgotten, where they write, "There's no reason to keep thinking about yesterday. Now it's too late. It will never be the same again. We're so different now."
Is this the best
may be
proof
referring
video?
to this bizarre relationship between Avril and Melissa. But there is a person who was close to the old Avril that we have to mention, because as soon as the new Avril stepped
look at
in,
this.
then
Look at this top comment. "I feel so bad for honestly. People have such a distorted perception of you that they think you're a completely different person because you grew out of your 16-year-old self. All artists go through aesthetic sound changes. 8,000 up. She was 15 when she became famous. Of course, her style, how she does her hair, her music, how she feels about the world, how she feels about a game, how she signed her name have changed. She grew up."
he stepped out of the picture. His name is Evan, and he's a musician who was in Avril's band. They were also best friends, so they worked on music together, they traveled together, they played in shows together. They were really tight. Evan stepped away in 2004, but if you look at their last song together, the lyrics read, "We had the best years of our lives, but you and I will never be the same. September took me by surprise, and I was left to watch the seasons change. 2 videos a day? I never thought that this could end, never thought I would lose my best friend. Everything is different now. Can we stop the world from turning? I never thought I would have to let you go. Never thought I would ever feel
From
this
Kanye
low."
West spreading
So
hate.
it seems like a pretty sad song that they wrote together as best friends. And it's odd because in the song he writes,
was 2
"I
years
was
ago.
left here
This is
alone."
yesterday.
And if he was just departing from the band and it was a simple
we-
breakup, then why would he
should we
lose
analyze-
his best friend? Like,
should we
if they were
analyze if
friends
he's
for
real?
years and years, then why does it have to end there?
Let's analyze if he's real.
Brazilian blog titled "Avril is Dead."
Avril went into a deep, dark war piddle and her.
Why would
Over her. So it's Avril Lavigne
Let's analyze if this guy's real. Okay. No, 2 years ago versus 1 day ago. Oh, is he in the same room? I want to be the same size. Okay. Let's have a look. Let's measure the gap. So notice in this one, his eyebrows used to be much higher, and now in this one, his eyebrows are lower. So that is signifying that he could have had an eyebrow lift. I mean, an eyebrow lowering. Notice how his nose is flatter here, and in this one, it goes more down. And then notice how his lip, oh, I guess his lip is kind of the same. It's so fried. Like, look, that does look exactly like his infographic. He's like, oh my god, it's so different. Yeah, like, obviously his head's turned like a tiny bit, but whatever, still. I think I've had enough of this video. He's a little too fried for me, this guy. I thought someone would have a more compelling one with, like, actual good evidence, but this is all just bullshitty.